It started with silence. No movement in the house, no voices, just unanswered calls and a growing sense that something was terribly wrong. On May 28, 2025, Broken Arrow police entered a modest home tucked inside a quiet Oklahoma neighborhood. What they found inside would shake even the most seasoned officers. A father, a daughter, a son, and a family dog all dead. Victims of a devastating murder-suicide that would unravel one of the darkest family tragedies in recent memory. The man at the center of the story was 58-year-old Rodney Shippy, a father of two, living in a modest home on West Norman Street in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. He was once described as a quiet, hard-working man. He'd been married, raised two children, and settled into what many thought was a typical suburban life. But behind the walls of that house, a deeper struggle had been taking shape for years, one of grief, mental health, and unimaginable loss. The tragedy didn't start on that day in May. It began years earlier with the death of Rodney's wife, Alyssa Shippy. Lisa died by suicide in 2022, an event that left a hole in the family no one seemed able to fill. Those close to the family say that Rodney never truly recovered. His children, 20-year-old Alyssa and 10-year-old Logan, tried to cope each in their own way. Alyssa, a bright young woman, had plans, potential, and a future. Logan, the youngest, was diagnosed with autism. He required extra care, but those who knew him say he had a light in his eyes and a curious mind. But that light, like so many in this story, was extinguished. After Lisa's death, the family spiraled into isolation. The home began to deteriorate. Reports from neighbors described a growing sense of neglect. Piled up mail, an overgrown lawn, windows dark at all hours. Then, in November 2024, Alyssa vanished. No public alert, no missing person flyers. She simply disappeared and no one outside the family knew where she'd gone. It wouldn't be until 7 months later that the horrifying truth was discovered. On May 28th, concerned family members who hadn't heard from Rodney or Logan in days called police for a welfare check. What officers found would haunt them. Inside the house, they discovered the decomposing bodies of Rodney and Logan. Rodney, dead by self-inflicted gunshot. Logan, shot and killed by his own father. The family dog was also found dead shot, lying near the boy. But it didn't end there. As officers continued to search the house, they found another body. It was Alyssa. Her remains had been there for months. Investigators believe she had been murdered in November and her body concealed in the same home where her younger brother continued to live. This wasn't the first tragedy in the Shippy family. In January 2023, just a year after Lisa's suicide, Lisa's stepfather, Kenneth Carpenter, fatally shot Lisa's mother, Diane, before turning the gun on himself. A double murder-suicide. That made 2 murder-suicides in the same family in just over 2 years. 4 dead and now 3 more in 2025. That's 7 family members lost in a chain of mental illness, grief, and violence. Logan, just 10 years old, never stood a chance. He was vulnerable, dependent, and deeply loved, according to relatives. The idea that his father, the one person entrusted to protect him, would end his life is a heartbreak too deep for words. Alyssa's life was cut short before it could begin. Her disappearance went unnoticed. Her death, undocumented until her decaying remains, gave her story back to the world. And Rodney, a man consumed by grief, isolation, and mental instability, ended it all in a moment of irreversible finality. Financial records showed the home was under foreclosure, over $135,000 owed, but bills alone don't explain the tragedy. This was the collapse of a family, the slow unraveling of grief that went unspoken, the silent weight of trauma that no one treated, and a failure to intervene before it was too late. In the days that followed, neighbors left flowers on the lawn. Local reporters gathered outside the home asking how such darkness could have grown right next door. And mental health advocates began raising awareness again about what it means to check in, to speak up, to listen. There are no winners in the Shippy family tragedy, just a community grieving the loss of a mother, a daughter, a son, and the disturbing realization that it could happen again in any home where pain goes unseen. In the end, the house on Norman Street didn't just collapse from foreclosure. It collapsed under the weight of everything that was never said.